Hello there, and a very warm welcome to Chazingdra Chats, the show where we take a stroll through the life stories of people in the Pokemon community, discovering the six Pokemon on their dream team along the way. I'm Charlie Merriman, merry by name, merry by nature, a host and commentator for the Pokemon Video Game Championship Series, and a content creator. And this week, as every week, I very much hope my guest and I can make your day merry because I have the pleasure of being joined by Droomish. Droomish, how you doing?
Great. Glad to be here.
Nice. I'm really excited to feature you on the show. As I said to you just before we started recording, I've been a fan of your content for a while now. You sort of, yeah, you're doing something that I haven't really seen anyone else do. I don't know. I describe them as sort of philosophical dives into the world of Pokemon, I guess. But why don't you give a fuller introduction to yourself?
Well, okay. I mean, am making YouTube videos, of course, but yeah, I at some point got really concerned with I had this, I guess, idea where I was like, I feel like everyone's talking about what games are, and I really want to talk about how games make us feel. Like that's the thing that brings us together. Like that's why I'm playing, and that's like why we're talking about it. And that was a really raw and unformed thought, but that's really kind of I don't know, everything since then that I've done has been like how and why, and the people as well. How do games make us feel? This is my favorite thing to do. I love it so much.
You're so right. I think at the end of the day, it all comes back to how it affects each individual person playing the games. And as I say, you really shed a new light from a new angle onto the Pokemon games that is deeply appreciated by so many. So that's fascinating to hear. I haven't met Droomish in person. Thank you so much, Droomish, for going along with my message out of the blue.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Well then, shall we get into it? Shall we discover
Sure.
more about your life story and your six Dream Team Pokemon? So what we're going to start off with, appropriately, based on what you were just saying, discovering a love for storytelling.
I think it was a number of things, but when I was 7 or 8, I like well, two things I guess actually happened with this. But I was extremely into LeafGreen. That was my game at the time, and it was LeafGreen was like the, I guess, the one of the founding things for like really getting into the outside pieces for storytelling, like I don't know, not like, I don't know, it's showing and not telling, and like the way that we draw conclusions about worlds. Because I was playing through there's Fire and Leaf Green. After you beat the game, there is a second story where you go to the islands. You go to the Sevi Islands, and I almost beat that story, and for the life of me, I don't understand why. All I had to do was use the move cut on these doors, and they say cut in Braille, but I could not figure out how to do that. But I loved playing, and so I'm like, I guess like 2 steps from beating the story. But for hundreds of hours, I just ran around the islands and thought about like what's happened, like what does this mean, and like thinking. And I would just always think about like, because I talked to everybody 100 times, because like, you know, I was a kid in RPG, but I would think about like, oh, like this island is shaped this way. Like what is that saying? What does that mean? And like these ruins have like why did this crater form or something? Or these rock faces, they're so jagged. And it was those types of thoughts that were like kind of just keeping me on a game that like I was essentially like either stuck on or completely done with. Like by the time like I like started playing Pearl, like I had like a save that was like, I think like my clock was breaking because the playing a lot of Pokemon, but it's at like 1,000 hours on there, because I was just like running, just I don't know, trying to like imagine the world as much as possible. I was so fascinated with it, and I think that like, I don't know, getting stuck in that way was like, I don't know, like a really shaping experience, and why it was the thing that I one of the things I chose to tell you about because like I don't know, I kind of feel now that it's this is like, oh my goodness, this is the unique thing. This is the one in a million thing in our world that like we can do that with is games. Like it's like an interactive story that like I can get dropped into, and because it's like in books, like you go from you go where the narration tells you, or like with a any driven story with that. But like in a game, it's like if point one and point two exist, and you're gonna go in between, you're gonna go from point one to point two, like that space in between now has to exist, and like that exploration was like, I don't know, just like mind blowing for me that it's like different than our world, and like, oh my goodness, like just there's so many things to be said and so many things to look at, and like I don't know, and there's a big escapist quality to that too. But man, it feels good to like, I don't know, like when these games will let you exist in them, and I really got that from Fire Red and Leaf Green specifically, and that was a really big one. I was also very into Sonic in this way because of the environments. But really any game that was like it had some level of environmental driven in it, like it would get me to think is like what does this mean? And I feel like that really allowed me at a certain point to be able to do this storytelling of like this, like what I'm interested in, and ultimately I guess I have loose like game development aspirations, but just to be able to, I don't know, appreciate what I'm playing in this way is so infinitely fulfilling. And I don't think I maybe never would have felt this way if I hadn't gotten stuck at some point. And so I'm really glad that I did, because like I played it like at some point later, and I'd gotten like a different cartridge, and I was like, how long does that actually take? And I like kind of ripped through it, and I was like, okay, I'm really glad that like I paused, because I think it's just so important to like, I don't know, to open your eyes, kind of like just pause, like when you're playing anything. I think it can be like a really formative and like just constructive experience about like your philosophy and mindset and stuff. And I love that games can afford me this. And then I was just like taking this idea, pretty much in any game I would play after that. I remember I had a lot of thoughts about the boards in Pokemon Pinball. That was like, and it is silly because it's like these are like arcade cabinets inside of the game, and I'm just still thinking is like, oh, it's so interesting they built it this way. I wonder why. And like I didn't have a ton of people to talk to about it at the time, but I do remember like this is such a small detail, but it's like I remember it so well. Was I had another friend who was like in the same part of that game with me, and I remember he was like, and he had a Mewtwo, and I was like, you have Mewtwo? That's so cool. Like, I wish I had Mewtwo. Can I use your Mewtwo? And he's like, okay, but just like be really like careful with Mewtwo, okay? He's delicate, all right? Like he like looks really strong, but like he kind of requires like some handling. And I took the Mewtwo to one of the battle towers at the end of the game, and I was like, this is awesome. I'm gonna mow everybody down. But he kind of, I wasn't playing strategically at all, and Mewtwo did not just carry me through it. And I was like, oh, Mewtwo is kind of delicate. Like I need to be kinder to Mewtwo. Like I assumed too much of them as I was going through this. As much as they are like something that exists, like games and stories are like just like they're places that we can live inside and like add lore to. And like I still like have this feeling about Mewtwo now, where it's like, oh, like they're like, Mewtwo seems pretty powerful, but you gotta be like, they might require a master's touch.
The importance of letting the imagination run wild, for sure. That's really inspiring to hear it. On behalf of all of your fans as well, thank you for getting stuck in Pokemon LeafGreen, because, as you say, we might not have the content from you that we have now. And on that note, now it's time to discover what the first Pokemon is going to be on your dream team. So as a reminder, the way this works is Droomish hasn't built the most competitively viable team in any way. It's just the Pokemon that are the most special to him, and he can find that in whichever way he wants. I have no idea what they are. He's decided on these in advance. So tell us, Droomish, what's going to be the first Pokemon on your team?
It's gonna be Espeon, and because that was, I never got Espeon in LeafGreen. They did not have, you have to get Espeon, you have to evolve it to evolve Eevee during the day, and there was no day or night in LeafGreen, but I knew about Espeon, and I was stuck again in that way, and I eventually got one because new games came out, but I had a complete canon imagined about why I couldn't get Espeon in this game and why I had a level 100 Eevee instead. And so, even though I did not have Espeon, I feel like Espeon really captures that era for me of like something that I didn't understand, but like kind of, I don't know, imagined something more than I was actually playing with, and had a much better time because of it, even though I never actually got it.
So what sort of theories did you come up with for why your Eevee wasn't evolving into Espeon?
I thought it was like, because there's only one Eevee, and I thought like, oh, maybe this is like a really special, like this Eevee needs to like have like a bond like that stands the test of time. Like, I don't know, I kept like I was like, oh, maybe it just doesn't like me that much. I don't know why, like, is it just the stuff that we think as kids as like level 65 Eevee or something, and just running back and forth, fighting everyone over and over, and I was like, well, maybe it just doesn't like me just yet, but I'll get there. And there was a manga series about the first set of games called Pokemon Adventures, and there was like a special Eevee in it that could go back and forth between the evolutions. And I was like, well, maybe it's like that. And like, I just haven't figured out how that works yet. And there's like, because there's like, that's like, it's something that like they do so well, is that like Eevee is like, oh, it's like, it's special, and I don't know how special it is yet. Like, and when you're a kid and you can have that feel like that, like wondering, it's like how special are we talking here? Because you look pretty cool, Eevee, and I know that you can do some cool stuff. Let's explore that. So everything that could possibly be about Espeon, I was like, well, that could be true, because I don't know that it's not true yet, and that's why Espeon is so cool, because it looks like this, and you know, it's a world of possibility over here. Yeah.
That's such a fascinating outlook of until I've been shown that something isn't the case, it could be, and I will just let all these hairs run in my mind until I have an answer. Well, fascinating, Espeon, welcome to the team. And if you're enjoying this chat with Droomish, please do like and subscribe, everybody. It does go such a long way, as Droomish can attest to, I'm sure, far further than it might initially seem, and I cannot wait to get to know even more about this fascinating outlet that you have, Droomish. So from there, now time to talk about theatre and band.
Yeah, I got very interested in the arts, of course, and I really liked music ever since I was little. I'm still like very, very involved with music. Like elementary school, I started playing the saxophone, and that was just like, I don't know, like my dream come true, because it was like really in any form. Like I had like drawn and like, you know, like scribbled every now and then, but this is like something even though I wasn't particularly good, I just picked up a complicated instrument, like, is like, you know, there's like a feeling with an instrument that is like I'm making something, like even if I'm just like kind of yelling and screeching a little bit, like I just made that. That's unbelievable. I just made this, and like I only know it's bad because I made it, and I'm creating. I can't believe this in this really like physical way. I felt it. I felt how out of pitch that was. That was amazing, and this is just really exciting to like be able to make in that way. And I think I felt similar in a similar way about like being able to act every now and then. Like I would try to be in my school's talent show, and it's very interested in that kind of thing. I was, very imaginative, very theatric. I was just, noisy and causing issues often. Ultimately, and I feel like I might have led you slightly astray here, was that when I was finally able to actually take a theater class at school and not just doing like extra curricular stuff, I was like I guess the whole semester was just like building up to one big performance. And so this is like a class that I'm taking. So it's like a fourth of my day, I guess, where the way that my school was set up, and we did stuff like along the way, but I was ultimately like, and me and many of my other friends were ultimately cast as extras in this play, and I was in as many ways as I would try to tell myself I wasn't. I was quite devastated about this. It's like, why I'm like this isn't what it's all about. Like I wish there wasn't like this, like, and it's like also the element of like I'm like in a class doing what I'm told as well, and this is what I have to look forward to, and I feel like a very unfortunate play as well. It was like I never got up from a chair. I was a student in a play taking a test, and so I'm like sitting there cramping as well. I'm like, this is not what I dreamed of. How sad. Sort of the same thing in a different way happened like with the band, like because I was taking band as well, but I got very disillusioned at a certain point of like, well, this, I'm playing the saxophone, and like I knew all of these people who were like they're just like being cool and silly with their saxophones, like these great jazz artists, and I love jazz. I was like, I want to play jazz and be silly and improvise and like play a song that I know more than anything. And most of the time it was just playing everything that I was to do was play classical music, and like it was like, good for me. I'm like learning an instrument here, but like disillusioning. I was kind of it, like, or maybe I wasn't thinking of like playing in the band. Maybe I was thinking of some other secret thing that I'm not aware of just yet. And I still play the saxophone, and clearly it's I get a lot of there's a lot of, I guess, like theatric appeal to me in doing YouTube. I don't want to leave out, I guess, the bad part of the hero's journey, but like for quite a long time I like was like convinced, because of like these two experiences, that like maybe I'm not, maybe artist for the weekends type of thing. Like I'm this is nice to dream about, but and maybe I'm not cut out for it even more. That was, I guess, the particularly difficult part about it, where I wanted to, I don't know, shy away because I wasn't doing anything that I wanted to, and that I don't know. I also thought, like, is this like because I'm bad at it? Also, like that's I feel like where the brain wanders. I feel like this is like a grim way to end the story, but that's kind of where I was. Like going into college, I was like, I don't know, somewhere completely different, like aspirationally, than where I was like 4 or 5 years ago, because like I had just like I guess it just doesn't work that way, and I'm pretty good at chemistry for me at that point. I was like, I can ride that out. Like there's fun stuff to do when I'm not at school or work, so I'll I'll let this, I'll just let it go, I guess.
Wow. Okay. Well, that's a really interesting thread to have running through, and I think we're going to revisit that in a moment. But now it's time to discover what the second Pokemon is going to be on your dream team. So, who's joining Espeon?
I thought really hard about this one, so I picked Lanoon for this one, and because I think that it was something I like, feel like I was very into this philosophy a few months ago of like, like all the Pokemon that are like Raticate kind of like are, like I like rats, I like rodents a lot, but like, and I guess I associate it with Lanoon particularly of like kind of getting assigned a job when you play the game sometimes, because it's like, like I'm running around, I've got rocks to smash, I've got little trees to cut down, and Lanoon kind of does the job just right. And but I found in like the last, like, I don't know, just like kind of exploring like all these different angles of the game of like, these are really like beautiful Pokemon that you can do like a lot of, like, you can play the game in a lot of really fun and unique ways with. I'd only ever kind of like, these were job Pokemon, and I wonder how Lanoon feels. That's what I thought, because Lanoon can be pretty awesome if you let it be. So
Yeah,
yeah.
of course, what you're referring to is the hidden machines in
Yes.
many Pokemon games that have a field effect, like, as you say, little rocks along the way that you need to smash in order to pass, or little trees that you need to cut down in order to pass. And Lanoon just happens to be able to learn a good number of those. So that's incredibly, that's wonderfully considerate of you to be thinking about how Lanoon is feeling doing that. Of course, in order to provide that service, Lanoon has to be in your party and therefore feeling close to you and getting to know you better. But I think it speaks a lot to exactly what you've been saying so far about how deeply you thought about all of these things. Well, fascinating. Lanoon, welcome to the team. Now we will race over from there into getting less serious.
So after and around this, something that was, I think, really, really formative for like all of these, the ways that I was, I guess, feeling about like creation and art. And for a long while, I don't know, I hadn't stopped playing games or Pokemon, but I remember it was like when, it must have been like 2008, 2009 area, maybe a little bit later than that, but I was getting to be a bit older, and I had let my classmates essentially convince me I was too cool for this stuff, and I was too grown to be playing any of these games, especially Pokemon. Is like, I don't know why it is. It's like maybe this was like unique to that time period, but it was like suddenly at like, I guess maybe like going into middle school, it was like, yeah, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just, I'm a big kid now, and this, like, that's what all the, it's like, I don't get it, but if everybody says that like maybe kind of, and I guess it's also just like, you're getting a little bit older with anything, and you're kind of like patting yourself on the back for doing so. It's like, I don't need the childish things that I enjoyed anymore. That's so childish. I'm so old and wise now. I don't need to play games anymore. And now I like all the games that I liked when I was 8, 9, 10, but I do not like any of the games that I liked during this period where I was like, I'm so grown up, I'm gonna play extremely mechanical MOBA or something, and like, it's like, I don't know, very like, there's nothing cute or soft or sweet about this in any way, which is like, I don't know, I really value that now. But the thing that like I feel like got me to get back on track and like here with that kind of thing, for whatever reason, it was, in many ways, I feel like it was like kind of the first game that I played was Pokemon X and Y, and I had some friends who were getting it, and so I was like, yeah, I mean, it's like, it's always fun when you're like, no matter what I'm feeling, it's always fun when I have it with other people. And that's like, I think one of the great things about games, and games that lean into that like often are like, doing something right. It's so hard for me to say on what happened for me here, but like those games they were the first Pokemon on the 3DS, and I really felt like playing it that time. I was like, like there's some real attention to like what the 3DS can do here, because like I'll like walk up to, I don't know, like a bridge or something, and then the camera shifts. I'm like, the camera shifts? That's like, oh my goodness. And now I'm seeing this babbling brook next to a forest, and the water is twinkling, and I'm on this little overlook, like in front of a forest right after a town. And I can't remember one that it was particularly. I remember stopping and looking at a lot of waterfalls. I've always been very attracted to waterfalls, especially for whatever reason. Video game waterfalls are like one of the most aesthetically appealing things for me. But I had all these moments in that game where I just stopped and looked, and I feel like that was like a seed for me. Like I really needed some like positive influence on that. Stop working, kind of like, to get less serious. And it's like, when it's being I guess handed to you in this way, I felt like particularly good about it, being able to. The point is the waterfall. Like I'm not like grinding or like trying to like I'm not jobifying this. Like I'm looking at something just really, really cool. And I think along with that, like this is like maybe one of my favorite games of all time, Pokemon X and Y, because there's just so many little extra accessories that are just like, like clearly made and like designed in the name of just having fun for fun's sake. Something I was really, really struck by in sort of a different way is that there's like they made it easier to play and build Pokemon for competitive play. And I was like, oh, that's really cool. And it's like a really like nice thought to be like, considering like it's, this is a hard thing to do just by like, almost just like the happenstance of how this works. And so there's all these systems incorporated to make that more accessible to people who want to go do those events, and which like I'm not a huge player for, but it was very striking how even stuff like that, which was like the job of like maximizing your Pokemon stats through the EVs and IVs, is like one of them was like kind of like a soccer game that was like you have like this like little flying platform, and your Pokemon shoots soccer balls at this big inflatable, and I would do it just because I thought that was fun. This is really the life. They like even made like work kind of silly in this way. And then the other thing was this just still one of my like favorite things to do when the 3DS was the main console, was the place where you could get really like apt Pokemon for competitive play was at this thing called the Friend Safari. And like you would receive boons essentially for playing with other people, and it was such a like a fascinating like skeleton of design for me, because the number of Pokemon that you're able to capture, like that you had availability to, was directly dependent on your linking up with other people. And that was also very, very striking to me. I mean, I feel like it's no surprise, I guess, to that those games are about beauty and the themes of beauty, but just like why are you being so serious about this, about like work and life? I don't know, I guess in some ways like kind of a wake up call. It's like I'm like thinking these like kid thoughts again. This is kind of like weird and fun, and I really, really like Pokemon Y. I don't know. I was infinitely impressed then, and I am infinitely impressed now. Ultimately, those games were like it was fun in a different way. I can't say that enough.
Well, I'm so glad they spoke to you, and it kind of reawakened your love of the franchise that had been there since you were younger. So now it's time to discover what's going to be the third Pokemon on your dream team, alongside Espeon and Lanoon.
This one is a Azumarill. I really like a Azumarill, and I feel like a Azumarill had kind of a similar trajectory that I did. Well, and I like it was a Pokemon that I was kind of unwilling to appreciate when I was a kid. I don't know. I thought it was like, yeah, you're kind of silly. Like you're cute, but you're kind of silly, and I don't like see anything particularly noteworthy. But something that was like really a really big component of X and Y. So that was when they introduced fairy type, and Azumarill got fairy type, and I think, and now I could see it from all angles, and I think it was, well, it was much better in competitive play for a variety of reasons. So I'm seeing it more, and it's like it's now a fairy as well as being a water type. I get it, kind of like I like this is silly, and that's good, and like I something completely recalibrated for me, and I've always like kind of imagined that change for with Azumarill, and I love Azumarill now, but like I don't think I could have loved it when I was like 15. It's so not serious, and but still like fighting the good fight. I love you so much.
Perfectly representing what you were just talking about there. Well, fantastic. Azumarill, welcome to the team. And now, on to teaching.
I don't really know when it started, but this was being able to to teach was, I guess, always my other great passion, I think, or it showed itself as a passion relatively quickly. I feel like now somebody asks me like advice about like YouTube or creating or writing or putting together a strong video, and I like usually I feel like I have my teaching experience to thank for, because I've been since I was in high school. I've been doing like some combination of teaching or working with kids in some way, or I was a teaching assistant in college for a while, and now I do I work at an after school center for high schoolers. I guess to me, one of the most important parts of art, and like the art that I create, I mean not exclusively, but like the art that I create, I have always linked to this form of communication, to make effective videos, in my opinion. Like, yeah, like the creation is great, but like I hope that you're a good communicator too, that your message can be delivered in that way, whatever it is you're trying to make. And we communicate in a number of different ways, but I've always thought that like the thing that if there's something that makes me stand out, it is this background that I have, and I think it's so important to because it's obviously not just school, with anything, like with games or art, or just like the way that we live. Like, I want to understand and be understood, and I feel like I can do that because I teach, and it's certainly harder when you're making I don't know, like an art piece that is just kind of like front facing and it's not a conversation. But and one of the most frustrating things for me was trying to learn anything growing up was like just feeling like I'm being talked at in a number in however many ways, and we're going through the motions, we're going through the points here in whatever this class that I'm hypothetically taking, and that thought has always just really really driven me. And so now especially and I try to talk to a lot of people while I work on my videos, because I can make the best thing in the world, I guess, but it's if people don't if I'm not communicating effectively, if you don't get it, then it was it was a disaster. I mean, I don't feel like I'm being like hyperbolic about it. Like if I was too confusing or like, you know, talking over people, then like this was a disaster. No matter how good I felt about it, because like they didn't get it. They didn't get it, and that is my fault. That is not. There's like, you know, intended audiences and things when it comes to like specialized communication, but I mean it is one of the most important things to me about, I don't know, I guess like being human, so to speak, is that like I hated not being able to understand or being misunderstood as a kid, and like I have the tools and know-how now to like at least always try to avoid that, and I mean like it's important. Like, you know, I try to keep my videos silly, but like I don't want to ever be the reason that like somebody effectively wasted their time with me, because like, you know, like I don't know, they're here to learn something, and I was unable to deliver that information. I mean, and just from that like frustration, I feel like I got it pretty early. I don't know, I'm not claiming to be some saint, but I think like one of the things that was always like a big part of it was to like I need to debase myself, essentially. I can't ever slip into just like lecture mode, and I think that was like it really clicked for me when I was like, I had like a section in it was a college general chemistry class, and like I've got a section of like 20 something students, and it's like I remember thinking, I was like this is real. This is as real as it will like probably ever be, like, because it's like this this is not just like, not that it's like not less real, but like this is probably like a little higher stakes than like after school tutoring or something, and like for that reason, like I need to be speaking from their point of view rather than my own. And that was like that specifically was a pretty big challenge for me. That was the first time that I'd had my own classroom and like had like gotten up in front of a group of people and done like a lesson before, and it was that was, I don't know, one of the most shaping experiences for me now. And like why it's like, I don't know, I feel like it's kind of my X factor, I guess, like just like going through life now is like, because I like try to take that experience with me. It's like I'm trying to, you know, all these tenets feel the same. Like if like I'm trying to persuade somebody, or I'm just like talking about my day, like these are the there's kind of evergreen tenets of human interaction here. I guess the first part was like, this is serious, I need to be taking it seriously. But then like, I don't know, I like have stayed with it and feel so passionately about it still, because it was like, oh, this is so frustrating, like, and it's like I want to help in an area that was tough for me, but also like this is like the best thing ever. Like everything is teaching, kind of. Like I feel like I don't know, every time I talk with somebody, it's like, you know, like this is in play. Like this is so helpful. Surprisingly, being empathetic works wonders with people.
Yeah, it certainly does. Well, fascinating as always, Droomish, and now it's time to discover what's going to be the fourth Pokemon on your dream team alongside Espeon, Linoon, and Azumarill.
I was looking for a teacher Pokemon, and I found a Rangaroo as a fun, because it can learn the move Instruct, which I think is really interesting. It makes, if it's in a double battle, it tells its partner to do something, and then they do it, and really interesting. And I don't know, I guess I aspire to be like that maybe someday, a a sage presence who can turn the tides of battle, maybe. So I look up to it.
I can see that for you. I can see that for you. I think it's a really good choice for this section of your story. So Orangaroo, welcome to the team. Now, exploring a variety of crafts rather than just one.
Okay, so I guess this is like if like the last two stories I just told you were kind of happening in tandem. This feels like the follow through on both of them, and I guess of all of it was just that like for because for a very long time, and like I went to school for chemistry, but like ultimately that did not. I mean, I like it, and I have worked in industry, and I teach, I help it, I help people with it after school, but like it did not like live up to my expectations for it as like as like a career field, I guess. Like I was again disappointed with ultimately what I was handed, um and this is like this specific experience, but also I mean there was a lot going into this, was like one of the things that led me to like I think I should try making YouTube videos, was just like kind of coming to terms with that I just spent like 5 years studying this thing really hard, and maybe I shouldn't have. Like maybe I should have been maybe I shouldn't have been in such depth. Like there's so many like, and I guess like the grass is always greener, but like I did feel like I was like, well, there's so many things I want to know, and I only really I know a lot about this one thing, and that's really cool. There's so many like cool things that I know that I want to know about, and I really should have done that. I should have explored in this way, and so that was like, I mean, and that specifically was like, I guess the through line for it of like no matter what it comes to, and I was like kind of reimagining, I guess, about how I could like apply this to like my all like facets of my life of like exploring, kind of like it was like a few years I just like took random jobs, and I worked at my like I got in essentially on a good interview, and I worked at my town's Parks and Recreation department, just kind of on a whim. I wanted to like be with people and like kind of see like, I don't know, because I'd been in for an entire school career. I'd been in books like at like a lab desk. Also just kind of on a whim, like delivered pizzas for a while. And that was just, is honestly pretty fun. I really felt like and this like I just the thought kept compounding of like I need to see more. I need to see more of like not I guess I don't particularly love traveling. This isn't like physically, but it was like there is like I don't know, like crafts and like activities to be seen that like I haven't really even given the proper time of day to. I don't know, and I feel just a lot more fulfilled now doing like, I guess as much as possible, rather than like, because I guess a delusion that I had per se when I was little was like, oh, like I want to get a PhD, I want to get a doctorate on here. And I got to the end of my undergraduate program, and I was like, that is a ridiculous thought, and like I'm gonna be so like, or this program is gonna be so old by the time that happens. Like let alone me, I'm gonna have been done this for like 8 years. Is that's like a that's a commanding portion of my life at large, and there's like had so many things. I was like, well, that would be really cool. That would be that would be so cool to know how to do all over the place. And it was a side effect of this, but like it's like I've always thought that like making YouTube videos, that's so cool. Like I could do that. At that point I was well out of school and I had to teach myself how to do like editing and stuff. Just really, really challenging at the beginning, but I think that just like specifically having like a really bad burn with feeling like I had a really bad burn with a job that I had like, you know, gone to school for years and years and years for, was like the sort of wake up call to be like, is almost like a complete wraparound of like, I need to get serious about having fun. Like I like if I'm gonna do something, like I need to explore these things thoroughly, and like if I'm gonna pick something up, we're going 100% so that I can try and like I don't want to like have, I don't know, these unfulfilled dreams ever again. And so like, you know, like it's fine if I'm like, you know, like I'm never gonna ever get into something, but like, you know, like if I'm gonna pick this up, like if I have the opportunity to, I'm gonna go as hard as possible.
From getting less serious to being serious about having fun.
Yeah.
I think it's a very relatable journey. So thank you for illuminating us as to that, Droomish. So now it's time to discover what's going to be the fifth Pokemon on your dream team. So who's going to be there alongside Espeon, Linoon, Azumarill, and Oranguru?
This one, I guess I was looking for something very specific, but I picked Deoxys for this one because I thought, I was like, is there like a jack of all trades Pokemon, kind of, or like one that's not evolving but is doing, like, can do a bunch of different things and like wants to do a bunch of different things. I feel so maybe it's a little on the nose here, but Deoxys has 4 different forms, and I thought it was, I think it was one of the first TCG sets that I had. Was I was like, just, this is like I guess like 10 or 11, but I was so wowed by its design, but even more so that it was like, whoa, it's kind of like, I don't know, it's like adaptive. Like that's like really interesting that it doesn't just have to do one thing. And I'd like, I guess, a partner like that who is like, I guess shares a thought about adaptability in that way.
Wow. Okay, so now before we discover what the final Pokemon is going to be on your dream team at Droomish, finding beauty in the world again.
All that stuff I just told you was going pretty good, and this is like so silly, but bear with me on this. I saw this, and I don't know, I mean, just like life happens, for whatever reason, I don't know, it's just like I guess in my 20s, early 20s or something. I mean, it's just hard sometimes to not like, and on any number of things, but like feel like giving up or throwing in the towel on I guess, especially when it's like you can't do it in a day. Anything that is longer set, and I guess the one issue with what I just described to you was like the problem, I suppose, was like I was not as serious as I was getting about having fun. I was not stopping and smelling the roses in any shape or form. And I saw this is the silliest thing, but I saw this picture that was like a guy in 2 different places, and it's like I think one of them was like, I don't know, it was somewhere in America that was like, it looked pretty good. There's just some like landscape. And the second one is a forest in Japan, so like halfway-ish across the world. And for both of the places, he is He's clearly loving it. He's got his mouth wide open in both of them. And then the caption of it reads, I feel like it was supposed to be like maybe like kind of an anti meme or something, but the caption for it said, "He is surrounded by the beauty of the natural world," and I don't know why this specific thing did it for me. Because I'd already been told is like that, like you kind of like you need to stop like not like stop doing this, but like you need to like you need to breathe and like look outside and stuff. And for whatever reason, maybe because I tricked myself into like learning something really good, but like I saw that and I was like muttering it to myself and my friends about like my friends are like I was playing a game with my friends one night, and they were like asking me questions. I was like, oh, because I'm surrounded by beauty. I'm surrounded by the beauty of the natural world. And they're like, are you okay? Like, what's going on? And I'm great. I'm surrounded by the beauty of the natural world. Like, how awesome is that? And it was I mean, it was a pretty big joke at first, but like it really made me think in a real way, because like I would go outside having like a terrible day or something, and then that would, like, you know, my mind wandering, I'd wander back to that silly little picture I had seen and be like, and then I would be like, well, nice blue sky, forest in front of me, like that's kind of beautiful. That's nice. It was weirdly a really big perspective shift in here of being able to like just like of like, wow, like I'm alive. Like I can take a deep breath. The roses are in bloom. Like you know, times are tough, but like hey, at least it's a nice day outside. And I cannot, like, I don't know, just like say enough like how like positively life-changing that was. And I feel like I got it through the silliest means possible, but I don't know, I just have like a completely different perspective now about it. And part of it was just like I started inserting that line into my videos about like, oh, this is what, like, I'm standing next to a waterfall inside of Pokemon Coliseum right now, like I'm surrounded by beauty, life is so beautiful. And I don't know, maybe the most important thing that I feel, because it's like it just kind of feels like everything at this point, like especially like, you know, I guess learning about life over the course of this story. But it's like there's the most, I don't know, it feels like the most important thing for me now, that it's like no matter how it's going, like no matter what's going on around me, like it's cool that I can take a deep breath, and it's cool that I am a thinking, breathing, alive person. Like how fun is that? And I feel like it's gotten me out of some dark times since then, or prevented me from falling into them. And that really is like I feel the like the core philosophy now as a creator. I don't know, maybe what I would consider furthermore, like what I think is special about my videos is that, like, because like now, like, and I feel like I'm like, you know, playing games of like any game really, even especially I feel like it's especially helpful with like ones that I had like kind of cooled on. I mean, Pokemon was that a while ago, but just like so many different things where, like, I don't know, just like being, because it's a world and like I breathe inside of the world, and I'm like, this is amazing. There is like so much to appreciate here. And like, and then that like influences my analysis of course, and then like I don't know, and I get to feel like at the end of the day is like, wow, like this is like a really special thought that I didn't even know that I have, and I kind of, because it's like I'm not like reading about, or I'm not like describing how it works. The thing that I'm describing how it works is me, ultimately. So I get to feel like I make something new every time that I do that, and that like the idea of like how games make us feel, like, or into like, I guess, to appreciate and communicate that, I don't think would be possible for me without the kind of adjusted mindset of like it's just great to be here, really. And like look at this town, look at this people, look at these game mechanics. Like I just like I'm taking it in, and it's making me feel something now that I get like just like in awe, so to speak.
Yeah, perfect place to pause on your story there. I feel like each of your topics in some way has had something to do with perspective and the shifting of perspective. And what you're saying, I mean, the videos you make come from a deep love of the games, and I'm sure that a lot of people will be taking lots away from being able to stop and smell the roses, as you say, appreciate the beauty around them. So, fantastic, and now it's time to learn what the final Pokemon is going to be on your Dream Team, Droomish.
Well, I think this one's maybe a little obvious. I really like Melodic now. It's the beautiful Pokemon, and I use it on my teams in a lot of games, and that was something, it was one of my, like, the first videos I remember doing where I was thinking about things this way, was because Melodic evolves from Phoebus, and it's a particularly complicated and rare Pokemon. I was like I'm gonna do it, but I'm not going to like scienceify it. I'm gonna do it like I was a kid. I'm gonna just and just, you know, kind of chart that process and see what happens. And unsurprisingly, this is now one of my favorite Pokemon, of like sifting through the weeds there and just getting to take in, I feel like, a really complete experience.
I mean, it really ties in with what you were saying, because Melodic tends to be appreciated as one of the most beautiful Pokemon as well. So, Melodic, welcome to the team, and this means, Droomish, that your dream team is Espeon, Linoon, Azumarill, Oranguru, Deoxys, and Milotic. And now I have to ask you, Droomish, well, first of all, I'm very surprised to see that Shroomish is not here, which I assumed would be front row center on your dream team. But I mean, the Pokemon you've chosen have mapped so perfectly onto the time periods of your life that you've talked about. So I can see it. But which of these Pokemon is going to be your partner Pokemon?
I think Azumarill, I just relate to it so much. It's kind of something that like exists, like not in the games, but like in the way that we like have perspective for them. And I feel like Azumarill has kind of just like a really odd like hero story kind of developing over the years. And it's like, I also like that it's I very much like that it's fairy type now. Really, like any Pokemon kind of does this for me, but it's the one that I've liked the most for the longest time. But like, I really, really like the idea of, and like try to aspire to, like the idea of kind of like the like because like Azumarill is like it's like a like, and I really like, you get to see this in Pokemon Unite, where it like waves its tail around like a little wrecking ball, but it is also like a rabbit, and with a like a big smile on its face, and it's like this big goofy warrior kind of. And so like any of these Pokemon that are like, I guess like capable of like doing like slightly like brutal things, but they're also like cute and like kind of joyous. Like I also really like Tinkaton for this reason, but it's like I just think it's like kind of, I don't know, it's perfect to see, and I like feel it pretty intensely. Yeah, I'm I'm silly, but I'm serious about it too.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, again, a really perfect choice there. And as I say, it's not Pokemon I was expecting to crop up as your partner Pokemon here, but I think based on everything you've told us, that so much deep thought and care has gone into these picks that, yeah, totally on board. So, Azumarill, you are Droomish's partner Pokemon. And now a slightly different kind of question for you, Droomish. If you were a Pokemon, what do you think you would be? Azumarill's a pretty good fit, to be honest. But
Yeah, I want to say Azumarill. I do. Actually, if I was one, maybe I don't know. As an alternate option, I think, because I don't love the association as much, but like I do like it and have, I guess, embraced it more. Recently is that I think I'm kind of like Cramorant in a lot of ways, awkward and unyieldy, but I also it's like I don't know. I still think that Cramorant is really cute, and like I feel like there's like something like really unique in its like, or at least in how I take in the design. Like Cramorant looks like it's trying really hard. I mean, it's like it's like kind of all over the place and has like, I don't know, kind of like stressed looking eyes. I don't know. I feel like I look like it sometimes. So, and I appreciate what it's doing, even if it's challenging, and I like all the noises that it makes.
well, fascinating. 2 Pokemon to choose from there. They're both water types. What do you all think? Do you agree that Droomish should be an Azumarill or a Cramorant? We'd be fascinated to hear, so let us know in the comments below. And speaking of you all, it's time for your community questions. I posted online, as I always do, asking for questions for Droomish. Thank you so much for submitting them. I apologise as ever if I mispronounced any of your names or handles. So, Blue Vactor, who I've also featured on the podcast, so check out that episode if you haven't already. A Shiny Hunter Pokemon content creator. Would like to know, and based on that, fairly classic question from Blue here. What's a Pokemon you have not yet shiny hunted that you would like to? And just to explain for people who might not be aware, shiny Pokemon, of course, alternately coloured variants of species that are incredibly rare. They're not otherwise different from regular Pokemon, but they're prized for their rarity. So, Droomish, what's a Pokemon you'd like to shiny hunt that you haven't yet?
They're rubbing off on me. I've been wanting to shiny hunt more and more, even though I don't know, I didn't think it was exactly to my taste. I would really like to hunt right now. I think might be outside of my expertise currently, but I'd really like to hunt for Maractus. I think it looks just really interesting, and it would be like, I don't know, so the kind of thing I'd be able to put on my shelf, so to speak, and be like, yeah, I did that. I did that.
What specifically about Maractus in a nutshell?
Well, I like, for one, anything that is like biome defying. So it's a cactus, and cactus should be in the desert, but in Pokemon it's a grass type in the desert, and like there's no cactus mechanic in Pokemon. It's just, this is a grass type, so it's going up against the elements, and like I already think that's really cool. I guess like kind of environmental storytelling whenever it happens, and it just has like a really neat offshade that is like, I think would look really good on my DS when if I was to get one in. I've been playing White 2 recently, and I think it just looks gorgeous on there. You know, like many things, it kind of begs a question of like, you know, like just by existing, it's asking us like, hey, why am I here? Like, you should think about that.
Yeah, well, as always, providing fresh perspectives on things, Droomish. So thank you very much for that, and thank you for that question, Blue. And now just a question from me, just to pick up on this Shroomish thing. Clearly, you know, that's partly what inspired your name. Your YouTube channel picture is a Shroomish. So is Shroomish your favourite Pokemon? It's
getting there. I actually didn't like it. Like, I wasn't like it. I've always really liked Breloom. They showed it as like in the TV show, you can see Breloom like shoots out its arms, like little. It has little springs in its arms, and I guess I was kind of sold the moment I saw that. But It's been growing on me. I really just I had big time, I guess, like Pokemon aspirations, and at the time, like I guess I was just amenable to it. I wanted something that rolled off the tongue for me, and I was like, yeah, I
Okay,
like
yeah.
Droomish pretty well, and here's a little spin on it. That's from me, and it's definitely getting up there. Like I don't, you like spend so much time with something because my favorite is a Azumarill. I feel like for like by a pretty large margin. I guess like if Breloom like was like made it into a game like Unite or something, like that might do it. That might push it over the edge because right now it's like it's really really high up there now. It has a I don't you just spend like positive time with something like that. It's like kind of along the journey for me. I like yeah in a way, and I'm just like I really like you actually. Like, you're pretty great now that I spent some time with you.
Really interesting that that's where that came from. So thank you for that, and thank you for your questions. If you'd like to submit a question for a future guest on Chazingdra Chats, keep an eye on my socials, on X and Blue Sky specifically, at Chazingdra. That's where I post the call-outs for questions for all my guests. I'd love to hear what you'd love to hear. All right then, Droomish, so we've heard a lot about you up to now, but what's next for you?
I mean, more videos, I think, of course. I have a couple going right now. In a couple months, my housing situation is going to change slightly, but will hopefully, in a good way, because I will hopefully have this space to put up one of those, like, green screen curtains, because, like, currently, I have a lot of stuff, and I really like games, and I'm a little bit maximalist, but I'm hopefully gonna have the space to put up one of those green screen curtains, and be able to like person with a mic some of my videos, hopefully on which I'm pretty excited for, and I've been thinking a lot more recently about I don't know I guess organizational aspirations. This is like way out, but I've just been thinking about it a lot recently. Esports orgs and also just like institutions revolving around games and like many ways like I don't know like culture surrounding games. Like I'm really big fan of like preservation initiatives. I want people to remember and know what it felt like. I don't know, kind of an unsculpted idea, but I've been thinking a lot about what could we come up with? Like what like if we were gonna make like a team or like an initiative or something. Like I feel like I've got some decent ideas, and but it's just kind of a matter of time and resources at this point. But it's where my eyes are right now, and I hope to deliver on that in the future.
Fantastic. Well, we wish you luck with that new venture. It sounds incredibly worthwhile. So thank you for sharing that, Droomish. And now, final question for you. Looking back from now, as a successful Pokemon content creator, creating these really interesting deep dives into the Pokemon world, all the way back to the young Droomish who just spent hours wandering around in Pokemon LeafGreen, wondering about everything that was going on in the game. What advice would you give to that younger you?
Thinking a lot about this, that I would really like to tell myself to. I mean, like with some asterisks, I guess, attached to it, but really like to be able to tell myself to stop doing what I'm told, kind of. And I don't know, there's like several epiphanies over. It's like my teachers and mentors, and just like these people are like vaguely they're looking out for me, but the dreams that I have, the dreams that you have, are kind of like something that you have to tell yourself. And I think it wasn't necessarily bad advice, but I feel like I took advice just from people who weren't me. And it's hard to know another person in that way. And I wish that I wish I could tell me to tell yourself those things. So stop doing what you're told when it comes to like the matters that only you could know.
Forging your own path, and a theme that comes out of the podcast is just leaning into who you feel you are, and it doesn't matter what other people think. Yeah, matters close to your heart, only you will know. So thank you for that very wise advice, Droomish. And the chat does not end there, because we will now be getting into Droomish's Rapidash round, 15 or so minutes of bonus questions that Droomish is not prepared for. I want to learn more about Droomish's journey with YouTube, for example. As a storyteller, I want to know what some of Droomish's favourite books are. And I want to know what Droomish enjoys most about what he does, as well as what would be his favourite of the videos that he's put on his channel. Things like that. If that would appeal to you, then my Patreon is linked below. It would be a pleasure to see you over there, where you can also support me as a creator. But fundamentally, I really appreciate the fact that you have listened to or watched this episode. So thank you so much, everybody. The Patreon will be linked below. And Droomish, thank you so much for joining me on the show. It's been wonderful to get all of your different perspectives as you have gone through life, and a lot to take away from that. So thank you.
Yeah, it was great to chat. I loved it.
Wow, great. I've loved talking to you as well. And if people want to keep up with you online, where can they find you?
At Droomish on Blue Sky and YouTube and Twitch, I guess, also from time to time. But yeah, sometimes I guess there's an underscore at the end of the name out of necessity.
Make sure you're following along with Droomish's fantastic content. Videos like the most recent one I watched, what qualifies an ace trainer to be an ace trainer in the video games, what motivates the fishing NPCs in Pokemon, the changes that have been made to Pokemon now that you can jump on the Pokemon you ride around on in Scarlet and Violet, and things like that. Really fascinating, so make sure you check it out. And now time for some YouTube spiel from this side of things. If you've enjoyed once more, please do like and subscribe. It really does help out so much. And drop a comment too, because of course, as with all my guests, Droomish has given us so much food for thought, and I'd love to know what you think. And if any of your own Dream Team Pokemon would tie in with Droomish's, what your Dream Team would be, let us know. We'd be fascinated to read. And plenty more episodes of the podcast on the channel, featuring a broad range of guests. They're creators or competitive players within the Pokemon video game, Pokemon Go, trading card game, Unite. There's bound to be something for everyone, and to spread the word about the show, you can use the hashtag 6Pokemon1LifeStory. I also vlog events that I cast as a caster. I do silly Pokemon comedy skits. I stream competitively, shiny hunting, as well as challenge runs, the broad spectrum that the Pokemon games offers. So my channel is the place for you if you enjoy everything that the video games have to offer. I've got my Discord community linked below as well. Come and hop into Chazingdra's Chocolate Factory and join the merry folk. It would be a pleasure to see you in there. And my socials, X, Blue Sky, Instagram, TikTok, I am at Chazingdra. Episodes of the podcast drop every Wednesday. And if you have any suggestions for guests or feedback on the show, chazingdra@gmail.com is the email. Or the socials that I mentioned, at Chazingdra. All right then, Droomish. So with that, it's time to get into your Rapidash round. So if you're not joining us on Patreon for that, then it's goodbye from Droomish.
Bye.
It's goodbye from me. See you next time on Chazingdra Chats, where there'll be another 6 Pokemon, 1 life story. Okay then, Droomish, how are you feeling about these bonus questions?
Good. Sounds good.
Nice.
The teaser you just gave me. But
Good, that's what we like to hear. So, yeah, let's take a little bit of a deeper dive into your journey with YouTube. You've alluded to it in the episode, but what made you take that plunge? What sort of videos did you initially want to do? Tell us more.
I felt like something that I thought when I was playing Y so long ago, right when it came out, is I had watching Pokemon YouTube all the time, and something that at least I never found. Maybe it could have existed for all I know, but I was like, just thinking one day is like, this game is awesome because